All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today is day 16 of paying my bills with dividends. Sitting here in Idaho, got a beautiful scar. It's a Royho number 5. It's pretty good. It's the Gran Habano Maduro. This is a 2014. So yeah, they're pretty good. Not sure where I got this one, but I just found it in the bottom of my humidor, and I was like, I haven't smoked one of those in a long time. So here we are. All right. So I got some coffee going. That means we're going to get into some investing. Somebody asked me the other day, hey, can you show off your fireplace a little bit more? So I got wood storage because it's been raining like buckets here for the last 4 days. So there's water everywhere. My main wood pile is soaked, absolutely soaked. But yeah, let me grab the camera and I'll kind of show you this thing. So I've got this weird pig thing that up here that was on the property when I got here. I can't really show it from here, but maybe I'll pull them down next time. But I got the fire starter over there, some 2x4s from construction sites, and that kind of thing. And then got some wood over here from tree cutter member of ours. And then, I got another wood pile over there. So those are the bigger logs. But yeah, endless burning of wood around here. Here, once it turns to about 100 degrees in Idaho, which it does get that hot, by the way. If you don't know about the Boise area, it gets over 100 in the summer. My wood burning goes way down. But today, it's actually kind of cold. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 50, 48, 50 degrees. There's a breeze. It's kind of chilly. But I feel great sitting in front of this fire. If you guys aren't watching the markets, you should be. Kind of interesting stuff going on with what's happening with Iran, where we got a blockade or something. If you're watching this much later, kind of some historical facts going on here. But I thought for sure today, just like yesterday, I thought it was going to be a red day yesterday, and it was green, and the markets are booming. And today, same thing. So it is green as green could be. So all my accounts are up, all of them, and not all my shares are up, but all my accounts are way up. So it's not a great day to buy, but we are going to invest a little over $300. We're going to probably dip into some margin and keep going on our weekly pays. And so we're going to get into the strategy I'm using and what's going on. So if that's something you're interested in, watch me invest my money. And it'll be fun. So stick around. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Before I get into the strategy, let's go over this real quick. I am not a financial advisor of any kind. This is definitely not financial advice. This is just me personally investing my own money and documenting that journey. The reason I created this was mostly for my own entertainment, but a friend of mine asked me, since I've been investing for over a decade and I've been living on dividends for a number of years now, a friend of mine asked me, hey, with the investments that exist now, how would I do it different? And that's what this is. So this is what I would do now if I had to start over. So let's jump into that. So this is the strategy here, and man, that fire is cooking. I don't know. I'm kind of looking at it going, all right, am I going to catch on fire here? But all the wood was wet, so I added more in than what was probably strictly necessary. But all right, let's go over this. So this is strategy number 7. So I've done this 6 other times. Some of them didn't work out so good. This one's been working pretty good so far. Strategy number 6 is what got me free, and I've just been kind of living on those dividends for the last several years, and it's been great. But my lifestyle gets better every single month, and every day, like this morning, I woke up, I had a bunch of dividends that I don't need to pay my bills with. So what did I do? I reinvested them, so my income increased. And that's kind of how I do it. So, how I started though, I actually created this thing called the wealth snowball. So this is my monthly expenses to run my household. And, somebody asked me again, they're like, hey, where's health insurance? And I don't have health insurance. I kind of believe that health insurance is a scam. And the main reason I believe that is I believe insurance should work out like this. I pay for the insurance when I need the insurance because an emergency comes up, they should cover me, right? And that's not what happened. So I had an appendectomy years ago. I had health insurance and what I thought was great health insurance, and they didn't cover it. So if they're not going to cover an appendectomy, they're not going to cover anything. So I canceled that, took all the money I was paying into the health insurance and put it into a brokerage account and created my own private what I call medical fund. And now when I need a service provider, and what I end up doing during that time is the surgery and everything, the hospital stayed, and it rounded out to about 40 grand. I made payment plans with all the providers, and I was like, dude, if I could do this with everybody, then I could just, and I got cash discounts on everything, made payment plans with them. And if I could do that with everybody, then I could create a brokerage account and just pay for it with cash flow. And that's exactly what I did. So the dividends pay all my bills, and that's worked out great. All right. So here's my personal expenses from the cheapest to the most expensive. And what we're going to do is the goal here is to create a portfolio of dividend investments that pay for each one of these. So we'll take the cheapest one first. We'll snowball this, kind of like Dave Ramsey's debt snowball. We're going to wealth snowball by paying all of our bills with dividends. And then once all those are paid, we'll move on to some long-term holdings, but we're going to be reinvesting dividends at a pretty high rate here. All right, so the strategy, we're going to use some weekly paying ETFs. So what I call weekly payers, but the goal here is to have a 35% total return, and we're going to take a look at what our return has been so far in the last 15 days, today being day 16. We're going to go look at what our return has been and see if that's matching up. And then the shares of the weekly payers will be bought evenly per number of shares. So I'm going to buy one of each one each day. And the only time I'll buy more is if there's a severe red day where the market drops, say maybe 5% in a day, then I'll buy some more. So that's when I'll do that. So let me pour myself some more coffee. I got the old school, mug that my grandparents used to use, today. And it's kind of nostalgic. And I love sitting in the sun and drinking coffee. It's one of my favorite things. All right. So I'm going to invest $300 a day into those weekly payers. I'm going to reinvest all the dividends back in until I have $400 a month in distributions. And we're going to see what my status is so far on that, having invested that $300 a day. Then I'm going to invest, once I hit that, I'm going to take 50% of the distributions. I'm going to put them into the monthly payers and 50% back into the weekly payers. The reason I'm going to put those back into the weekly payers is to control that my share price decline from going too far down on those weekly payers. Right now, they're all going up, but they, in the past, historically, they've gone down. And a lot of people really focus on NAV erosion with those. In fact, I think most people on Google or on YouTube have like NAV erosion Tourette's. They can't go for a minute without saying NAV erosion. So, and here I am saying it, so it's kind of funny. But once I hit that, we'll be good to go. Margin will be used once the accounts reach 2,000, which we did on April 1st. So we've been using margin every single day. And we're going to try and speed this up using margin. And when I'm using Robinhood for this, because Robinhood with their gold account gives me $1,000 in margin for free. And that's fantastic. So if you want, there's a link below. You can sign up for Robinhood using my link. And every time somebody signs up, they give me $5 in stock. And if you do sign up with that link, I'll use whatever comes in, and I'll invest it into this account. So I think I have about $10 I've gotten. So thanks for the 2 people who signed up. And then Snowball has the same thing. There's a link down below for my link down there. And so far I've gotten like $25 from Snowball. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that out. Once I get that out, I'll invest it in this account as well. So anything I get related to this, I'm going to invest in this account. So we'll kind of see what it looks like if you pick up extra money here and there. All right. So shares of the monthly payers will be bought evenly per number of shares, and dollar cost averaging will be used as well. So I won't be able to buy one of each one every single day at the beginning, but eventually I will be able to, and it'll speed things up. Then the monthly payers, the goal is the average of a 10% return, and then I will pay all my expenses with these monthly payers that are more stable. And so I've got a pretty decent list. Everything, all these links to everything, this strategy, all the spreadsheets that I'm using, everything like that's all below for free. So you can just download whatever you want, do whatever you want with it. So I have no way of making money on this other than if you sign up with for Snowball or Robinhood with using those links, I'll make a couple bucks here and there. But at no point am I going to, a couple people are like, hey, you should start a Patreon or whatever. And I'm not going to say never, but man, I really don't have time to mess with that stuff. So, but always appreciate a subscriber, any of that kind of stuff. It does apparently help me. So more subscribers and more likes on here equals more viewers, and that's great. So I do appreciate all the people who have subscribed over the last couple weeks. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to track the number of days that it took to hit these, each one of these, get these knocked out with the monthly payers, so that the water and trash $60 a month. So right now we're at day 16. We haven't even started buying the monthly payers yet, but once we start doing that, then we'll tally these up, and from day zero, 16 days ago, all the way to when we paid the first one, and then each one of those will kind of spin up even faster. All right, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to move my chair because this fire is cooking me. All right, I moved a couple feet forward, so maybe I won't roast myself too bad. All right, let's get into the portfolio here. So here's the weekly pay ETFs that I'm using. I've got mostly tech in here or crypto, so blocks. That's there's a giant moth or something trying to attack me, but there's a blocks is a Nicholas's crypto ETF. I actually really enjoy their strategy and reading about it, so I figured you might enjoy reading about it as well and doing your own research. So I put links to everything in here, to each one of these different investments, so you can go take a look at those. And if you're interested, there's a lot of information in there on what their strategy is and what they're trying to do. So pretty awesome. Each one of these has kind of a cool strategy around it. But I put a lot of Round Hill funds in here. That's not because I particularly love Round Hill more or less than anybody else. It's just what pays on specific days. So, for example, I needed something that paid on Monday, so I got blocks, and then I got Maggie in here. Both of those pay Monday. PLTW and HOW pay on Tuesday, so you can see the pay dates here. And HOW, the reason I have it in here, some people are like, why in the heck do you have that thing in here? It hasn't performed that well. Well, guess what? It's been performing just fine, but I got it because underneath is Robinhood, and Robinhood, since I'm using Robinhood, I thought it'd be cool to put it in here. So that's why it's in here. So HOW has a strategy to, get distributions weekly on top of Hood. And so that's pretty awesome. Top W used to be WPay. Somebody mentioned yesterday that they will not be paying out as big of distributions as, it used to be WPay. Now it's Top W. Back when it was WPay, the share price, drop on it was so intense that a lot of people bailed out of it. In fact, if you went on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it and saw people commenting on it on Round Hill's page, they were like, man, this thing sucks. Well, they changed the strategy and then changed the name to Top W. And they did drop the distributions, probably more than half of what they were before. But that's maybe not such a bad thing. So so far it's been holding and doing well. Maybe it's the overall market, but it's been doing better, in my opinion. So then we got Tesla, which is actually, this one's been kind of sucking, but today it's been better. And then Rec Shares, they sit on top of this growth plus cover call income ETF here. And then we have the NVIDIA one, which I thought would be crushing, but it hasn't been doing as awesome as I thought, but it's not terrible. And then I put the Walmart one in here the other day just because I wanted something that wasn't tech, and somebody suggested it to me, and I was like, you know what, the heck with it. I'll put it in and we'll see how it does. All right. Got a couple Tap Alpha funds. I've actually owned T-SPY and TDAC, which are their 2 monthly payers. I've owned those in my main account, since a week after they first came out. And then they created these weekly ones, TSYX and TDAX. On top of those, they call them their lift products. So I'm not sure how they're going to do long term, but they haven't been terrible. So lower returns than most of the others here, but maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe they'll have a little more longevity and do well over the long term, and we're going to find out together whether that's the case. All right, so Chippy, which is the only YoMax fund I have in here. But it's the only weekly payer from YoMax that I really liked. That's high, that meets my strategy goal. They have like Soxy and some of these other ones that are their target 12 products, like Biggie, and those are good. And I put like Soxy is down in this list for the monthly ones, but it doesn't meet this strategy, which I need a higher return. So and Chippy's been doing great, so we're gonna keep going with that and see how it goes. Then we have YETH and YBTC, and these two products are built on top of course, Ethereum and Bitcoin, and those are Round Hill funds that pay on Thursday. And I know that a couple of people have mentioned like QDTE and RDTE and those kind of products for Friday payers. I've owned those products before, and I actually still own some in another portfolio. They just haven't been that great. So I'm gonna have to look back into them. I haven't gone into it yet. All right, so now here's what I call monthly contenders. These are not because I've chosen them for the monthlies yet. These are just ones that people have suggested to me or ones that I have myself. So I have all these NEOS funds. Also, there's the JP Morgan, JBQ. I was going to put JEPI in here, but it doesn't meet the requirement. GPIX, GPIQ. There's some Goldman Sachs funds in here. There is SOXY from YieldMax in there. Some more Rex funds, AIPI and FEPI. Those ones I actually own in my other account, and they've been doing great. I've owned them for a long time, so they've gone through like market up and down, and now the market's going back up. So we're going to see how they do long term. And then some of these I don't own yet, so I don't own the ROCY and ROCQ products. I don't own this WTPI. I don't own these either, so in my main account, but we're gonna look into those and see if those are something we're gonna do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a separate video on just the researching these monthly ones, and then we're gonna pick the 13 that I'm gonna use over there. So I got 13 weekly pairs, and I'm gonna have 13 monthly pairs. So I'm gonna trim that down to 13. I'll do a separate video on that later, and we'll go over that together in a like a Saturday video. Obviously not this Saturday, maybe this Saturday. We'll see. So I got to travel, and sometimes I'm tired when I get home from traveling. So we'll see how I'm doing, physically and emotionally when I get back. All right. So here's what dividends I've gotten so far. But one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put which day these came in. So like this was like day 3 was this top W, day 4, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna go in and mark which day each set of these payments came in, so you can kind of track how long it took to get what level of dividends using this strategy in this portfolio. But here's the 2 payments that came in today. And I'm not sure if you can hear it, but man, there is like a flock of geese flying like right over my head. So loud. I can hardly hear myself think. All right. So yesterday we got baggy and blocks. Today we got HOW and PLTW. And you can kind of see here, I got $5 from HOW and $4.75 from PLTW. And then last week, what did that look like? 196 and 192. So things are starting to stack. And since I am reinvesting all the dividends, that's helping, and I'm using margin. So those things are helping speed this process up. All right, total dividends so far in this account is $54.29. We're going to get into Robinhood, and we're going to do some investing there, and then we're going to get into Snowball Analytics, and I'll show you what projected dividends look like. So here's the in Robinhood, kind of where we're at with the transfer. So I put my $300 in this morning. And then I got those two dividend payments in there. And so this is kind of nice. I can come through here and see what all my dividends are and those kind of things. So I can actually break this up into just dividends and see all those payments and make sure those match up to my Google Sheet. I figure it'd be more fun to have it in a Google Sheet that you can look at rather than in here. And I like it too. It's calculates out as we go. All right. So now now we're going to see some stuff. All right. So a couple things have happened that's a little crazy. Number one is most of the market is in the green. Surprisingly enough, Berkshire is down today, not significantly, but down. And so, we've lost about 8 cents on those 2 shares that they gave me for people signing up. So I think I'm just going to sell them anyway and take the $9.92 there. And let's see if we can do it. I think today's the day. So let's see if we can close that position. Nope. Still can't close it. So, their 3 trading days is a little off. All right. So we're going to wait on that. So maybe it'll go back up tomorrow. Who knows what it's going to do. So we're just going to get out of that. And then over here, if you can take a look at this portfolio, I'm up 6.26% since I started investing in this. So I've net increased about $319.39. So, pretty significant increase. And I think that's the overall market just trending upward. And then let me see if I can close this. It's making me nuts. All right, cancel that. All right. So you'll see down here that I only have $34.68 in cash. That's because I've been using margin every single day because $300 is not enough to buy each one of the weekly pairs. So I've been dipping into margin each day. And I'm going to go well over 300 in margin today. So tomorrow when I put my $300 in, I'll still be in the negative on that. But luckily, Robinhood gives me, let's go over to their margin area here. They give me, let's close this. Look at this here. They give me $1,000 interest free, which is fantastic. And right now it's ready to use. I'm not using any of it, but what I don't want to do is ever get into a dangerous situation where I'm going to get a margin call. So I'm being pretty conservative with dipping into margin right now. A few people have suggested that I use all the margin all up front, but the problem is I don't want to buy all those weekly pairs all at one time. So because I don't know if today's the high or today's the low, or what's going on. So I'm going to dollar cost average in one at a time, which means that this portfolio is just going to grow slightly slower than if I use all the margin at once. And I think that's okay. It's going to fit my strategy and what I'm trying to do. Obviously, if you want to do something different with your money and you want to use all the margin with Robinhood, knock yourself out. That's up to you. That's your money. So all right. So blocks, let's go ahead and, take a look at this. So things that have been down. So TSII has been down, but it's still down, but not as much. So we can kind of scroll over here. So it went up 2.5% today. And so we're only down 2.86 total down on that. The Walmart one has been down, but we're down 2% now because it went up a little bit today. And then, amazingly enough, PLTW, which has been our drag, it's been kind of sucking the life out of me over here. But we're still down 10%, but it went up 3% today. And so we're going to still dollar cost average down on that. The rest of these we're dollar cost averaging up. So I don't like that, but we'll dollar cost average down PLTW and TSII and WMTI here in a minute. But the rest of these are up today. Some of them pretty significantly, as you can see. Blocks is up 4.2%. HOW is up 10%. That's nuts. So, but that's the thing about dollar cost averaging. You buy when the market's up and when it's down. So, and today and yesterday it's up. So, all right. So, bid price is $15.60 and the ask price is $15.64. So there's not much difference. Let's split it and get it for cheaper. All right. And it was filled. Oh, why am I not getting my little chime of love here saying my orders went through? So let me turn on my volume and see if that works. All right, so Chippy, we're going to go ahead and increase my position here. Current price is $62.85. Put the limit in here. And then bid is $62.80. So let's do $62.82 and see if we can get it a little bit cheaper, even though it's way up today. And then HOW. We're going to do the same. We're going to increase our position here, do limit. So bid is $25.11. Current price is $25.08. So the bid's higher than the current price is. So we're going to go $25.08 and see if it pushes through while we're doing all this stuff. All right, Maggie. Well, that's selling it. I don't want to do that. Cancel that. Maggie, let's go ahead and increase position. Do limit on that, and then bid is $46.06 and the current price is $46.07. Let's see if we can get it for $46.06. I don't know if we are. Green days are brutal buying. NVII, increase position. We'll do limit on that. We'll see if we can get it. $26.12 is the current bid price. Current price is $26.07, and then the ask price is $26.18. So this it's going up significantly. So let's see if we can get it for $26.08. Doubt we will, but you never know. Sometimes I get lucky on these things. So PLTW, limit price, bid is $22.51, and $22.54 is the current price. So let's see if we can get it for $22.52, and see if we can get it a couple cents cheaper. TDAX, we'll do this one, limit, and then $22.13. $22.31 is the ask price. $22.21 is the current price. So let's go $22.15 and see if we can get it a little bit cheaper. Top W, we're limit on that, and we're going to go bid price $26.71. $26.67 is the current price. So let's do $26.67 and see if it'll go through at the current price or if it's going up too fast. All right, TSII. Who knows? By the end of the week, I might be positive in all these, or I might be down. So bid price is $17.87. Current price is $17.84. So let's just do current price and see if those will go through, or if the bid. I'm gonna have to bump all these, I think, to the bid price. All right, TSYX. We're gonna do an increased position on that one. All right, now the bid price is $22.32, and that the current price is $22.36. So we'll see if we can get this a little bit cheaper. Walmart one, WMTI. We're going to go ahead and increase our position here. The bid is $26.63 and $26.59 is the current price. Oh man, these are going up faster than it's keeping up on here. So I'm just going to put all these in. We'll go adjust them. All right, bid is $21.73, and then ask is $21.78, and then of course the current price is $21.76. So we'll go down to 1 penny below the current price and see if we can get it. And then ETF is the last one. So we're going to go ahead and limit buy, and then 12.11 and 12.16, and we're going to go 12.12 on that. All right, one of them went through. YBTC went through. So something's working here. All right. Start at the bottom here, Chippy. I know that's just going up like crazy. So 62.85 is the current price. So let's go up to the current price and see if we can actually get it to go through. HOW, we're going to go ahead and replace that one, and current price is $25.17. Bid is $25.14, so it's gone up significantly since we put that in. So we'll go on $25.16, see if we can get it to go through. Or if it's going up faster, then I can replace these. 26.06, 26.07 is the current price. Ask is 26.12, so we'll replace that with the current price and see if that'll go. All right, OEII, 26.14. If you've been watching these videos for a while, you'll know on the red days, man, these go through. I save myself a ton of money on green days like today. It's hit or miss, right? So 22.54 is the current price, but current bid is 22.55. So that means it's going to go up, or it is going up. So let's see if we can get it for that. TDAX, 22.15, and the current price is 22.21. Let's see if we can get that for 22.17 because the bid price is 22.14. So let's see if we can get it a few cents cheaper, but I don't know if we will. Not on a day like today. It's too crazy. 22.71 is now the current price on Top W. The bid is 36.71. 36.73 is what the bid price is. So I doubt we're going to even get it at the current price. All right, 17.84. I'm dead on that, but the bid price is 17.89. So let's go 2 pennies up. Let's just work our way up on these and throw 2 pennies at each one, and see if we can get them to go through. We're gonna do this until we get them all, get them all through. So normally, just so you know, normally what I would do is I put a bunch of these in first thing in the morning on my main account. I put it at what I think is going to be the lowest amount that it's going to go down to that day, and then I let them roll throughout the whole day. And of course, some of those are going through, so that's kind of nice as I'm saying that. But I usually just let them roll all day, and then at the end of the day, I'll come in right before market close and adjust them if needed, so that I get the ones I'm hell bent on buying that day. So, but most of the time, at some point during the day, they'll go down to the price that I wanted, and I'll get them. So, but today is not that day. And this type of strategy where I'm actually showing you my investments, I don't have the time to wait on that. So we're gonna end up paying a couple pennies extra today, and that's okay. It is what it is. The market will go down again at some point, and we'll buy all this stuff down. All right, so let's get 26.73. That one might actually go through at that price. We're going to find out. Which it did, and Yath went through too. So TSII, let's go up a penny on that one. Let's go TSYX, and we'll replace that one. WMTI, let's add a couple pennies on that sucker. And I'm getting way past what the current price is on these. So that means that people are buying them like crazy. I'm not the only one going nuts on a green day. Everybody likes to buy high and sell low. Not me. I just buy a little bit every day. I never sell anything. So That's just me. I rarely sell anything. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I sold shares of something that I had bought for income. Usually, even if the share price is going down, I'll hold on to it, and it's worked out well for me. That doesn't mean it's a good strategy or I'm recommending it to you, but since I've been investing, it's worked out fine. And I've been through all kinds of market conditions. COVID, the 2022. I think everybody had a panic that year, and then last year we had the days where the tariffs were hitting, and everybody's having panic and pandemonium on that day. But not me. I was buying like crazy that day. In fact, I took out margin loans way higher than what I normally would, just because everything was so cheap. I just couldn't resist it. And I had to buy. Trump said, "Hey, today's a good day to buy," and I took that seriously and went nuts on it. I haven't heard him say that since, but I'm hopeful that at least once before he's out of office, he does something crazy again and causes the market to have a one-day drop like that, and I get to play. So, all right, TSII, making me nuts. TSII, go through. All right, WMTI, we'll get that one. All right, these tap alpha ones are going up pretty fast here. So we'll get that one to go through potentially. TDAX. All right, this is like watching paint dry right now. All right, making me crazy. All right, let's go WMTI. I just want to get over to snowball so I can see what kind of awesomeness we've created by doing this. So I think I'm within a penny on all these right now. There goes that one. TSII went through. All right, it's just the top alpha funds and the Walmart one. All right, let's get the WMTI 2265, 2266. And I'm not going to reduce my cost on that very much. So, which is kind of a bummer because I was hoping to buy that down a little bit and get my share price a little bit more in line. But a little bit of change. So I went from down 2% to down 1.62. If you can see that right there. So I ended up buying the share down a little bit, not much, but a little, and that's good. So I don't know why this one's not allowing me to change. All right, TDAX. Where are we at, TDAX? 2223, which is the current ask price. Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm going above the ask price, which I never do that, but that is where we're at. TDAX 2221, 2224. That's the one I just did. TSYX, we'll replace that one. 2240. The current ask price is 2245. We're going to go up 2 pennies on that, see if we can get it to go through, which is not happening. Maybe it's not the day to buy these. I don't know. All right, we got that one to go through, and I think I'm within a penny on this one because I'm going to go a couple pennies over ask. So ask has actually gone up to 2233. 2119 is the current bid. So we're going to go up 2 pennies on this one and see if we can get it. Nope. Very nuts. All right. So here's the problem with buying on green days. Number one, I'm dramatically increasing my share cost per share on some of these. So some of them I'm still down below my average cost per share. For example, PLTW is now, it's down, but it's down 9% still. And then TSII, I'm still down 2.71%. WMTI, I'm down 1.62%. In my main account, I have so many shares of things. I'm over 200 different holdings. So I'm usually able to go through and go, what's goofed up today? And so I can buy those and leave the green ones alone and wait for red days to play with the ones that are up at a certain time. So I'm always trying to buy my cost per share down as much as I possibly can. So with this particular strategy, I'm not obviously not able to do that as well as what I would like, but it's still working, right? I'm still up significantly. The overall market, I think, is up today. I'm not sure. Let's go look. All right. So the overall market is significantly up. My portfolio. Let's go back to that. Is up today about 2.42%. That's because these funds are leveraged, right? So you got HOW, for example, PLTW. Those are all leveraged funds, and so because of that, I get 1.2 times what the market changes on those particular things. So the underlying under HOW, for example, is Robinhood. So Robinhood. So let's go look at HOW today. So Robinhood's up 9.42%. That's crazy. And then so you'll see, Robinhood over here, HOW. See if I can scroll over. I'm up a little bit more than that. So 9.79, 9.42. So they try and give me, they try to give you more leverage on the way up. The problem with these funds has always been that they're 1.2 leveraged on the way down too. So any losses that you get are amplified. Any gains that are brought in are amplified. But the reason I'm holding these is not for share price appreciation. I'm holding them because I want the income off of them. So we'll see how effective that is over the long term. I get lots of comments and messages about these weekly payers going, hey, you're going to have NAV erosion. Life is going to suck for you. You're going to hate it. You're going to lose all your money, Joe, that kind of thing. And that's fine for people to think, and that's okay. I believe that dollar cost averaging, the way that I'm doing it, is the right solution for me to combat that. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. That doesn't mean it's right for you. If you think that your portfolio can't handle that, or that's not the right thing, obviously don't invest in those. Like that's, if you want something more stable, there's a lot more stable stuff out there. In fact, I own, thousands of shares of Main Street Capital and, Altria Group and things like that in my other portfolio. And those have been consistently good. My share price is almost always appreciating in those. Year over year, I make tons of money in income, and my share price appreciates. But the 6.5%, 6% that Main Street Capital pays doesn't meet the strategy that I'm trying to do here. Now, in my long-term holding, that's paying my bills long term. Those do meet that strategy of long-term holdings. So those were the things that I invested in as kind of what I call a phase 3 to this portfolio. And at some point, I'm gonna go over the different phases. So you're seeing phase 1 right now, which is high yield, high risk, high reward type of situation. What I do next is go into those monthlies that are still high yielding. That's phase 2, and then phase 3. Once I get all my bills paid, any additional dividends that I create out of this account will go into what I call long-term hold, and Main Street Capital kind of fits into that type of thing. Realty income. I have an office in Phoenix. Literally, right? I drive from the airport to my office, and I drive right by Realty Income's office down there. And I go, hey, I'm a shareholder, so can I get some free coffee or anything? Every time I go by, it's kind of funny, but that's those holdings just don't fit the first part of this strategy for me. So, but I do love them. So, all right, so here we are. Let's go and refresh this and see where I'm at. So now, on day 16, I've invested $5,520 at $20. I don't know what that is. I think it's those Robinhood the shares that they gave me from Berkshire, and plus something else. So, but I've invested 16 times 5. Let's do the math on that. So 16 times, not 5, times 300. So I'm up to $4,800 plus the dividend reinvestment. Oh yeah, I did invest $600 one day because of the holiday. So there's an extra $300 in there. So I'm up to $5,100 invested plus the dividend reinvesting that happened. And then, so you can kind of see where I'm at and a lot of this and the margin that I've used. Okay, so let's go back to Robinhood real quick and look where I'm at on margin. So I'm down. I've used $332 in margin today, and as I predicted, because of that, over here, I'm going to be in margin every single day. So even when I add my $300 back in here, I'm still going to be using margin tomorrow, 100% of the way. So, all right. And I have $1,000 in margin to play with, which means that I'm going to keep on using margin. And I'm hopeful that before I use the whole full $1,000 in margin that they give me for free, that my dividends are covering the difference between the $300 and the additional, and I start paying down that margin. That way I can use the margin later pretty heavily to buy the monthlies. So until then, I'm going to keep investing the $300 a day plus using some margin so that I'm growing this faster. So as you can see, that's increased the amount I've got. So I've invested $5,100 of my own money, and then I've put in an additional, what does that equal out to? 5520. So 5,100, 5520 minus 5,100. So I've used $420 in margin plus the $10 from minus $10 from those guys. So $410 in other people's money that I've used to increase this through using margin. So and then the dividends have paid down some of that. All right. So where are we at right now? I'm up $300 in this account since I started it. So that does include the dividends and the increase in share price. So the share price appreciation is accounted for $256 or $256.94 of that. And then the dividends, it's $44.47, but they don't take into account the dividends from today. So as you can see, I actually have $54.29 in dividends total. So that's not calculated into Snowball yet. So tomorrow this will be looking even more sexy, and then hopefully we'll see. Who knows? The market might be red tomorrow. I don't know. But right now my passive income is almost 41%, which equals out to $2,516 annually. So not a bad gig. Putting this amount in and then getting this amount out. All right. So let's go over my dividend calendar and see what this looks like. So I'm up to $6.75 a day if these hold. Now this is estimated. So just so you know, this isn't guaranteed. So whether or not these are going to keep paying out like this, they may pay more. They may pay more. There were days where HOW is paying a couple bucks a share per week last year. So that could happen. We don't know. All right. So, but I'm up to $205. So I'm over halfway to my 400 mark. I'm going to use Snowball's numbers for this. So when I hit that 400 in here, that's when I'm going to start buying those monthly. So I'm over halfway. And again, this is speeding up because I'm using margin and I'm reinvesting those dividends. So this is going to go even faster going forward. So last week, for example, so let's go the week before, I made $3.33 on Wednesday, $6.22 last week. And I'm going to make $16.12 tomorrow. And then on Thursday, $5.84 on the second, $10.82 on last Thursday. And then this week will actually be $15.33 this week. And that'll these numbers will hold because there's no more, I can't, if I buy something on Wednesday this week, I won't get paid on any of that stuff. So all these things that I buy Wednesday this week will not pay out till next week. So we should see these dramatically increase. So next week, so we'll see these go up. But right now, doing quite well in my opinion on this. But obviously, if you've got some suggestions, I'm always reading the comments. That doesn't mean I'm going to listen. As I always say to people, I'll take positive criticism. I'll take suggestions. That doesn't mean I'm going to change my strategy, but it might. Some people have given me some ideas on the monthlies, and I've added them in here. As you can see, I've added these. In fact, somebody told me about OVL. I didn't know about that fund. In my main account, I'm up to like 15 shares of that just in the last few days buying that. So I am buying more dollar cost averaging into that with reinvestment in my main account. All right, so snowball, let's go look at where we're at on the our goals. So our goal is $102,960 a year, and that's because that $85,000 dollars back from here. So or 8,580 times 12 equals out to 102,960, and then I'm putting about $6,000 a month into this thing. And then doing dividend reinvestment still says I'm on track to do this in 3 years, which is what I did last time. But I'm hopeful that using margin heavy and these weekly pairs is going to speed up the process. Obviously, I'm not using margin heavy yet, but I'm going to. I'm going to blow way past that $1,000, by the way. So right now I'm going conservative because I'm dollar cost averaging into those weeklies. But once I start buying the monthlies, I'm going to be a little crazy with the margin. I'm not going to get so crazy that I get a margin call, but the amount of margin I'm going to have to use in order to get this done in a year and a half is going to have to increase. Okay, so so I'm at 2% of my total, which I think is pretty great for 16 days in, and we're going to keep on rocking with that. And then so that's kind of where we're at with this. So let's go back to the dashboard real quick and look at a couple things. So the Berkshire shares are down. Hopefully those go up. I'm not sure why those are down. The top W is down today. It says in here, but let's go back to Robinhood and see if that's true. So Robinhood's showing top W as up. So I think that Robinhood's probably right, but let's go look at this and see if it's up. Yeah, so it's up in here. So snowball is not to be trusted on this number. I'm not sure why it's saying that, but this is top W is actually up. So but the I use snowball 99% of the time is to come in here and look at my dividend calendar and calculate out my dividends and see what I'm about to do and look at my goals. So I use it for three things. The dividend calendar is my favorite function here. I love it. And then the other thing that I use it for is doing research on some of these funds. So I can come in here and look at my holdings. I can look at my total profit in here and see where I'm at. So these do include the dividends. So I can hover over these and see my dividends received plus capital gain. So let's go with the nice one. So let's look at blocks. So yesterday, I can't remember if blocks was up or Chippy was on top, but these two I imagine are going to go neck and neck for a little while. But you can see dividends received on Chippy or on blocks is $2.49, and then the rest is share price appreciation, and then Chippy is $9.13, but I've got a capital gain of $96.95 there, which is pretty cool. All right, so then you can actually come look at this and go, hey, what are my dividends payouts on these, and how are these paying? And then my total returns on these and what this looks like. It's these views in here are great, but what I can do is I can come click on blocks and I can go look at past dividends in here. I haven't showed this before. So here's future dividends, what they estimate them to be based upon what we're doing. Let's go back to the beginning of the year, so I can see back in January. Let's go back to when these paid out in January. So I was like, okay, it paid out 12 cents, a little over 12 cents, a little over 13 cents, back in here. What's it paying out now? So you can see that the actual payouts are lower, and that's because the share prices are lower than they were during that time. So that doesn't mean that this won't be great long term. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out whether or not blocks can take advantage of cryptocurrency going up. And so, what's the price of Bitcoin today? It's actually down, surprisingly. It's down, but the share price of blocks, surprisingly, is up. So ETH is up, YBTC is up, even though the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin's down, is Ethereum down? So, and Ethereum's also down. But sometimes these share prices are not related necessarily to the underlying, although most of the time I can usually track Bitcoin's down, YBTC is going to go down. Bitcoin's down, blocks is usually going to go down. But that's not happening today. The markets, I think people are just buying these up and having a grand old time on a green day, and that's fine. So we're going to go with that. Tomorrow, tomorrow's a travel day for me, so I'm going to be, who knows where I'm going to be when I'm doing this video, probably the airport. So should be interesting. But we're going to get into it and do some more investing. And I'm watching the news today to see what's going on in Iran, and we're going to see if tomorrow's going to be a red day or a green day. But so far, this portfolio is doing exactly what I predicted it would do, which is paying me out some solid dividends, and I'm able to use the margin to increase the speed. So if you like this, I would love a comment. Obviously, subscribers help me out. I guess I got a notice from somebody, and it looked like YouTube told me that because I'm smoking cigars in here, or somebody sent me the rules around smoking cigars, that they weren't going to promote this to very many people. But some of my videos are getting a couple thousand views. So thanks for the support. Thanks for sharing those. And thanks for subscribing. And I really appreciate it. And if you are investing, I'd love to hear about your journey. Comment in the comments below, and let me know what you're up to. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see y'all tomorrow.